Somewhere between the moment you woke up this morning and the moment you're hearing the sentence, your brain has already erased more information than it kept. Not lost, erased on purpose. Most people imagine memory like a filing cabinet slowly gathering dust, papers yellowing at the edges until they crumble away by accident. But neuroscientists studying the brain have found something stranger. Forgetting isn't just decay. In many cases, it looks like an active process, something the brain is doing to you rather than something simply happening to you. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. If forgetting is intentional, then somewhere in your skull, a decision is being made about what you get to keep, and you're not the one making it. This is called long-term potentiation, and for decades, it was treated as the whole story of memory. Stronger connections, stronger memories. But researchers began noticing the opposite process too. Connections weakening. Synapses shrinking back down, sometimes within hours of being formed, and this weakening wasn't random. It followed patterns. One clue came from an unlikely place, the developing brains of infants. Babies form memories. You just can't recall being one, a phenomenon called infantile amnesia. For years, scientists assumed the infant hippocampus was simply too underdeveloped to file memories away properly, but experiments on young mice complicated that explanation. Their brains were producing new neurons at a staggering rate, a process called neurogenesis. And when researchers slowed that neuron growth down, something unexpected happened. The young mice began remembering things they normally would have forgotten. The implication was almost backwards from what anyone expected. It wasn't that early memories failed to form. It was that the flood of new brain cells was actively overriding them, rewiring the very circuits those memories depended on. So why would a brain sabotage its own record keeping? This is where researchers like Blake Richards and Paul Franklin offered a reframing that unsettled a lot of assumptions. What if forgetting isn't a failure of memory, but a feature of intelligence? A brain that remembered everything, every face on a crowded street, every conversation, every version of every decision you almost made wouldn't be sharper. It would be paralyzed, drowning in detail with no way to tell which details mattered. Think about what you actually need to survive, not the specific parking spot from 3 Tuesdays ago. You need the general pattern where you usually park, how the lot usually looks. Holding onto the noise gets in the way of holding onto the signal, so the brain appears to trade precision for usefulness, quietly discarding the specific to preserve the general. Sleep seems to play a starring role in this editing process. During certain stages of sleep, the hippocampus replays the day's events, but not as a full broadcast. More like a curator walking through a gallery, deciding which pieces move to permanent storage in the cortex and which get taken down. Some studies suggest this replay strengthens emotionally significant or repeated experiences while letting the forgettable moments fade. Though scientists are still working out exactly how the brain distinguishes what deserves to stay. And this is still a live, unsettled area of research. Not every neuroscientist agrees that all forgetting is adaptive. Some memory loss still looks like straightforward interference, new information crowding out old, or simple decay from connections that just aren't used. The picture emerging isn't of one clean mechanism, but several overlapping systems, some protecting you by erasing, others failing you by accident. Which leaves a strange thought to sit with. The version of your past that feels most solid, most true, isn't a recording. It's a heavily edited draft, shaped by a brain that decided, mostly without asking you, what was worth carrying forward. You don't remember your life as it happened. You remember what your brain decided your life was for.